Hello, good evening, and welcome. And I'm sat here giggling and smiling away to myself because this live has totally come about due to my absolute walliness. So, thank you if you're tuning in now, and thank you if you look at this in the future. I appreciate anybody's time coming on here and having a look what I'm actually doing. I normally like to have a rough idea of what I'm doing when I'm working. And to be truthful, that is not the case today. So I thought that what I would do is give you a bit of an update on what's been going on. And at the source of everything at the moment is I've been feeling quite flat. My energy has not been in quite the right place. Now, people can explain that away by many different means, that it's something to do with the world's energy, it's moon energy, it's the stars or something like that. Hi, Karen. Or maybe it's just down to the fact that I'm a Mardi git. Now, Mardi, if you don't understand that from where I come from, Mardi's a bit grumpy, a bit sort of down in the mouth, a bit moany. So I've been trying my best today to utilize my time in the best possible way. So how my day's gone, right? It's been one of those days where I've done my best to get things organized, and I've achieved, I suppose, in a way. But my day today was all geared towards doing a live in South Africa. So once a month, I do lives in South Africa where I do tarot card readings and messages and things like that. And if I've done well, then what happens is that people will pay me for readings outside that thing. So there I am. I come upstairs and I get myself all set up and I take the opportunity to do some live recording. And while I'm doing my live recording, I get all of that process. So that's a big achievement for me because it's motivation to get that done. And then I'm really, really looking forward to doing my Christmas special in South Africa. Look, I can even prove what I'm saying is true. Look, so here is my hat. Right. I was ready with my hat and I'd got my Christmas waistcoat on. And I was sat there and I thought, I'll post a picture of what I'm doing. That went really well until somebody pointed out that that's tomorrow. So, like, it's been like, oh, bugger. What a mess. So I thought, well, I'll utilize my time by coming on here and saying that what I'm up to. If anybody's there and wants a card reading, then I'm quite happy to do a card reading. But I just thought I'd give you a little bit of a story. Thanks for that, Karen. Appreciate that. Fabulous. Yeah, I feel like a fabulous prat at the minute. I really do. So I've been dealing with a little bit of anxiety, which I've had in my background. And this was to do with like trying to put things into perspective. What is my future going to be? So for those of you that are new to my channel, I'm in that place where I've been fully self-employed doing this for a year. And I've had some fabulous experiences, and I've been lucky enough to experience some brilliant venues, do readings. I've been up and down the country doing shows. I've been on stage and things like that. But then it starts to get to the point, like with everything, where it slows down. You know, that initial drive. And the thing with me is, I'm a family man. I look after my family. I do my level best to look after everybody around me. And when I feel like I'm not fulfilling that, my mind tends to go off on a wonder. So I look at doing things then that will challenge my mindset. So today, and I want you to picture this, guys. I want you to have a think about this. I've decided that 2 of the fence panels in my garden need changing because they've just got a young pup next door, and we don't want the pup being able to get out and things like that. So I thought about how I could do this. Now, I haven't got a big enough car to fetch fence panels. So I went out to the place to order them, got lost on the way home, which is only 6 miles from my house, but it was something that I managed to achieve all on my own, getting lost 6 miles from my house. Luckily, I had my sat nav in, which brought me back in. I then process that I've got this thing to get sorted out. So I've got old panels to rip out. There's only 2 of them. I've done the old Tommy Walsh thing of measuring twice and measuring again just to make sure that the new fence panels would fit. I'd even written it down on a piece of paper what size that there were. Now, this is where the buffoonery side of things come in, because the fence panels were duly delivered this morning. I was motivated enough to go outside and fit them, even though it was raining and drizzly and horrible. And then what happens is that I get outside there and I've got to drag the fence panels through to next door's garden so I can lift them up and put them in place. Now, you see, I thought I'd done a really clever thing there by pre-measuring. So, and I asked them to cut them to a certain size. When it got there, I went to put in the first one and then suddenly realized it was massively too big. So I measured to check my measurements. Now, my measurements were correct, but I'd written them down wrong. And when I'd written them down wrong, I'd asked them to cut them at the measurement that I'd written down. They cut it even bigger than that. So it was one of those, right? Both of us that were in the wrong, but it still didn't solve the problem. So I managed to cut the panels and put one in. Then I'd got one, and because it was raining, this panel was incredibly heavy. So I go up a ladder. And my plan is, while I think this one through, that I need these fence panels putting in place, I climb up the ladder and I lift them up as far as I can get them. I'm like this, as far as I can get them up. Lift them, lift them, lift them. Anyway, a gust of wind blows while I'm on this top ladder. Now, picture having a hang glider that's made of wood, because that's what it was like. I just managed to put the panel down before I took off or got knocked off the ladder. So I'm stood at the top of this ladder going, I can't do this. I made a really big mistake. I'm having a bit of a panic and a bit of a wobble. And I felt really ridiculous about this. But then what I did, right, you need to gather yourself. You need to think this process through. So I got down off the ladder, stopped myself shaking. I got the other panel cut and fitted in. So that was okay. The bigger panel, right, that was going to take some effort. I used to do a lot of gym work, so I thought, I know the technique. I'm not as strong as I used to be, but I know the technique that I want to employ to lift this thing in. Anyway, I managed by hook or by crook to lift this fence panel that was now sopping wet and weighed probably 20, 30 kilos above my head, and managed to get it dropped into place. So I'd achieved my goal. I was quite happy with that. But it's like with anything, that when you go through a turbulent place or a bit of a period of upset, there's that recovery place. So my brain had told me that I was in danger of falling. My brain had told me that I was going to struggle to complete this task. Therefore, I felt like I was going to fail. That generates a lot of energy within you that's got to go somewhere. So I got down after that and I had a cup of tea, settled my nerves and thought, okay, that's fine. That job is now done. Went and cleaned up, admired my handiwork because I'd achieved what I set out to, but I didn't feel very good. So it took an hour or so to just sort of calm myself down. But I thought, no, well, we'll go upstairs now and we'll prepare, because 4 p.m. today, I was supposed to be on that Christmas thing. I've got bookings and things like that. So this will be a right laugh. I posted a picture of me sat in front of my screen, my green screen, where I do my filming in my spare room. And somebody said, yes, very nice. Happy Christmas. Isn't that tomorrow? Oh, real Homer Simpson moment of going, don't. But it gets better, because I thought, right, I need to utilize that time a little bit better. I need to process some stuff. So I'll do some filming. So I've been on this course, which is 60 days to make an impact on your YouTube channel, right? I'm fairly new to this sort of style of working on YouTube. So I've just been putting out content after content in the hope that I'm going to build up more viewers and build a rapport with the audience. So that's great, because I'm experimenting, and my next stage will be then to start learning how to edit properly and put the quality together rather than the quantity. So I did all of that. And then I thought, oh, well, I've got some time left now after I've done my video. So I'll go downstairs. I think I'll have a cup of tea. I'll think about doing a live. My wife's out working, so let's see where this takes us. I get up at 6:45 here and decide that I'm going to do that live because my wife's still out, she's still busy. So you come upstairs, check your lighting, put all your background in place, set the scheduling on the StreamYard, which is the channel that I work from, to go onto YouTube, and then the dogs go berserk. Right, and as the dogs go berserk, what happens then is that means that somebody's coming in. So I walk downstairs, and there's my missus. After a very long day at work, very tired because she works with young kids. And I said, "Oh, hello, I didn't expect you yet." She said, "I did tell you at dinner time that I would be in between 6:30 and 7 o'clock." So it's been one of them days that I suppose when I look back, now what do I focus on? Do I focus on the fact that I made several faux pas, cocked it up a little bit, or do I focus on the fact that I've actually achieved quite a lot? I haven't done it in the perfect manner. I haven't done it entirely in the right way. But what I have done is I've achieved. Part of this course that I've been on talks about 1% improvements. So the 1% improvement that I made today is I put, I think, 4 or 5 bits of content onto my channel. And I'm really, really proud of that. Yesterday, I was looking at how I can improve that channel because the aim of this, I love doing tarot reading. I absolutely love doing all of this. It is my absolute joy and my pleasure to read for people to connect in with. At my heart, I'm a therapist. I want people to learn how to face up to themselves. You know, even if you've got anxiety, even if you've got difficulties in your background, how can we as a team sort of thing get you past that? So I wrote something this morning. And I'm a truthful guy. I don't lie. I put on there, right, I'm not one of these like drama queens that wants to put statuses on social media because I want you to look at me. What I put them on for is because it's the truth. And I often find that when I write and put things down, it sort of transfers the energy away from me. So I was putting out to the universe that I want changes, right? That in its current format, the way that I'm going with my work isn't long-term sustainable. So I was looking at how I make this sustainable. And lots of things came into mind. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that you're good at? So I started writing. Well, I'm good at communicating. I'm good at talking. I'm not great at articulating my own feelings. I put other people first because I just got this program running in me that I just want to help people. I want to find ways that can improve their quality of life. And if I can be that sounding board, that spiritual counselor, that person of guidance, then I'm really happy. But I don't know what that means for me long term. So I looked at my other page. So I have 2 pages on Facebook. One's my mediumship page, which I go on there and I do tarot card readings and mediumship when I connect with the spirit world. And my other page is where my heart really is. And this is my soul guidance page, which is working with your energy at a very deep level, trying to find out what makes you tick, where your cogs turn, what your programming might be, what you might be influenced by. And I sat there for a bit and I'm thinking, it doesn't really describe me. So I looked at it and I asked myself, what am I? Right, I am an overthinker. I am an overanalyst. Now, how could I utilize that? Well, there must be other people out there that think in the same way that I do. So I thought, well, we could put our heads together and come up with answers to problems that other people have got. So I then came up with the idea of calling it thoughts therapy. Right? I am not a teacher. People keep asking me to teach. I'm not a teacher, but what I am comfortable with is being a guide. You know, while I hold the torch, you walk in that light and start to progress your way down the pathway of your choice. And if we come up against any obstacles or hurdles, then what we will do is we will find a way of overcoming them. And I'm happy with that, right? So that was a good bit of progress. Now, I don't know if anybody, I mean, I've only got one of you watching at the moment, but if this is out for other people later on, in its infinite wisdom, and I've still not quite learned how this all works, is that you can't change your name on YouTube more than twice in a fortnight. So I wanted to add 2 capital letters because I'd put something on there about being a tarot worker and a psychic, but I've not put the right capital letters on. So I waited 2 weeks to change that. In that 2 weeks' time, I'm also thinking I want to put on about thoughts therapy, which is helping people deal with an overactive mind and an overactive imagination. Right, so today is the day where I can change my title after a fortnight of waiting. So I go on there, and bearing in mind I'm not the best on computers, but I am learning slowly. So I put my title in. I include thoughts therapy. They said it's just a little bit too long, so I just had to just tweak it a little bit, so I've got it on there. So I proofread it. I looked at it. That's what I want to be known as now. So Rick Paul, psychic, tarot, and thoughts therapy. Are you happy with that? Great. Right. So press the button. As I press the button and that's gone through, it now says changes updated. Right, okay, great. Then just as I'm coming off that screen, I noticed that instead of putting the signal, which is and, I put the one that is the link for website addresses, at. So I didn't want that. So I looked back and I thought, well, I've got one more opportunity to take that off. So I reset the page. Now, Facebook then took that as that was a second attempt. And I've now got to wait another 2 weeks just to take out that symbol in the middle. So just bear with me while I'm finding my footing. Because sometimes, honestly, my daftness and my stupidity astound even me. And I sit there and I tell people, right, don't use that self-deprecating humor. Don't tell yourself negative things about yourself. Don't pull yourself to pieces, because we all make mistakes, and the subconscious mind recognizes everything you give it as fact without checking for reference. So when you tell yourself that you're not a good person, or you've cocked up or anything like that, then the subconscious just recognizes that as a fact, and then the brain tries to bring in an environment that suits your thoughts. So I'm fully aware of the process that I'm going through at the moment. But you know where there's an exception to every rule? Well, this was it today, because I looked and I thought, I can't really justify that daftness that I've exhibited over the last couple of days. So as I've come on here, I'm kind of like throwing myself on my sword, because that's me. That's my sense of humor level. It's not life-threatening. It's not a massive problem, but it's just something that I've got to encounter. So over these next few weeks with all of this sort of thing, what I'm looking to do is to make those changes to suit my needs better on here. I've been lucky enough to be offered a few gigs next year doing the mediumship in pubs and clubs and things like that, which will help me expand on that. And then what I'm looking at doing is moving towards monetization. So it will be one of those that I'll keep pushing and pushing, because what I want to do is more of these sort of get-togethers online with people and help work through things, you know, to be that support, to be that guide. And then hopefully that will lead on to teaching, if that's what people want. But I'm sat here truthfully while I'm broadcasting, and I haven't got a clue about to teach what. Am I currently being stalked by the satanic cult secret society who call themselves that? I've got to highlight that, mate, because now I'll be truthful, Brian, if you're still on. I don't really know how to answer that, but how I will answer this is that I don't get involved with anything like that. My work is entirely about bringing in upliftment. I don't engage in any of that sort of darkness, negativity, or anything like that. I would be at a loss to answer that. My gut feeling is no, but it depends on your belief system. So I'm not going to make light of it, because it's obviously an issue to you if you're being genuine. But it's not the way that I work. What I look at doing is helping people with tarot cards, giving messages and things like that. My way of working is that I only deal with love, light and upliftment. So it's irrelevant what my opinion would be, because it's not my way of working. It's not the way that I connect in. My background was that I started out from being what I would call an open-minded skeptic with this work. I started going to spiritualist churches and venues like that, and then I've moved on from that to doing development circles and working with my tarot cards. And I like to be, it's like your stand-up comedian, I like to entertain. So I've got to be absolutely honest with you on that one, Brian. I haven't got an answer for it. It's just not my way of working. When I did start with all of this work, I imagined signing a contract. And on that contract, my terms and conditions were that I wasn't going to deal with any darkness or negativity. So anything like that that is around my energy is soon dealt with and soon got rid of. So I'll be truthful with you, my friend. I don't really know how to answer that one. Has anybody got, because I've only got 2 of you on, is anybody interested in a card reading, or has anybody got any questions or anything that they'd like to ask me? Because if you haven't, it's not one of them that I'm going to throw a Mardy over or get all huffy about, but I've only got like limited things to speak about tonight. I've not got any general agenda, really. I just wanted to come on and just, again, thank people, because I did this. It's called 30 Days to Make a Dent, so dent makers. And by doing that, it was learning how to pitch yourself, how to put yourself on it. Now, I can do shows, I can do tarot readings and all of that sort of thing, but technology has been a bit of a mystery to me and a bit of an Achilles heel. So any opportunity that I get to learn and to bring on here, that's what I do. I appreciate that you need to advertise a lot earlier, which was impromptu purely because of circumstances and me cocking up. But I also realise that if you don't put content on regularly, then people soon lose interest. So as I say, what I'm looking at doing is getting people to like and subscribe to my channel. The last one of these that I did is approaching nearly 200 views, and for me, I'm absolutely blown away by that. I think that is absolutely amazing, and I want more of it. Now, it's one of those things that when you get a taste for it, you want more of it. So I come on here and I advertise and I show what I'm doing. And like, for instance, I'm pressing a button here, which will show you, if I can just find it there. Nope, I haven't got my banner up there. Yeah. So when I do readings, that's how I do readings. And we'll just put that one on there. And we'll take that off. And we'll go back to the comments there. If I get the buttons right, we will take that off there. You a read, if that's okay. Yeah, say, Brian, again, with that, I don't truthfully know about that. I really don't, my friend. So I'm sorry that I can't help you with that one. Yes, read, if that's okay. So what I'll do, because I've only got well, there's only one on now. It's only showing me as one. Karen, are you still there? Before I went off on a tangent. If you're still there, Karen, can you just let me know? And then I will pull you some cards. Because we have got where it's dropped there. Yeah, brilliant. Right, okay. So what I'm going to do is I will pull you 3 cards. And when I do 3 cards at shows, what that tends to do is it's a short form reading, and it's like, I call it a taster, because it will link you in, but it will also just give you something to think about, something to chew on. It's not in depth, but it's like a storyline. How I combine it is I'm sat here with you and your energy, and I'm also putting out my energy and my vibration to the spirit world. I connect in with a gentleman around you at this moment in time that I feel was a heavy smoker or had something to do, had problems with his throat and his lungs and things like that. Because as I connect in with his energy, I feel, excuse me, where I'm coughing, and that's not mine. This is spirit coming in and connecting with me. I just feel at the moment that he's bringing his energy in around you to just give you some support, to give you some guidance, and to give you something to shoot for and somebody to lean on at this moment in time. He's talking about that he did like this time of year around the Christmas, the build up. Yes, I definitely feel like it's a fatherly figure. I'll be straight with that. And this is where I have to be reliant on people that trust the energy that I've got. I don't always get names, addresses and phone numbers and things like that. I get feelings. Now, as he comes in, his energy is very, very strong. I don't know whether he suffered with issues around the chest area, but again, I feel really, really heavy with that, and I feel a little bit nauseous, and I feel like it's really stuck in my throat. Once that's acknowledged, that's the interesting part, because then that energy is taken away from me, and then I know that I've made the connection. He's just bringing his love for you. He's talking about that the last 3 weeks have been pacific. Thank you. That makes sense, because I'm sat there like this, patting in my heart space, and what that tends to talk about is the heart chakra. The heart chakra is all about emotion. So I don't know whether it was an anniversary of his passing around this time, or whether he's just bringing in good morning from Australia. Good morning, Rainbow. So he's making me aware of this emotional connection with you, and he keeps talking about these last 3 weeks. So I don't know if there's anything that's been going on over these last 3 weeks that has required you needing some support, but you've not got it. So he's just bringing that through and says he's only 30th of November. Right, thank you. Right, I yeah, brilliant. So I don't know whether you've been in it. And I always feel a bit daft saying this, and please realise that I'm not downplaying anything, that when we get into that state of emotion, it's not something we can ever get past. It's just something that rolls on. I always see it like maintenance with grieving, that you do your best at the time, but some days it kind of like overwhelms you. So there's just that little bit of a sense there that you probably needed a little bit of support, or a kind word, or a shoulder to lean on. But what I feel with it is that you've not been getting it. So he's bringing his energy through for you to give you that shoulder to lean on. He's just talking about you putting your best foot forward at the moment. Right. So I don't know what your aims and ambitions are at the moment, but I've got 3 cards for you. I've got the 8. Let me just get that in shot for you. I've got the 8 of Wands. I've got the Wheel of Fortune, and I've got Temperance. Temperance is all about balance and moderation. Orange is all about the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is all about your gut intuition and how you process chunks of information. It's your second brain. So there's things at the moment where I feel that you've got lines to draw under stuff. There's things that you need to settle, but also I want you to bring down that level of either irritation or anger towards something. So that orange is being sent to you to just give you some time to process some old crap, as I would call it, and get rid of it. I spend a lot of time talking to people about chucking things in the kit bucket, and that I'm being censored. I'll be censored there. So dealing with things, putting a line underneath them, stop. Then instead of like reconsidering it and going over and over again, it's about putting that full stop, that decisive marker down, and then making the decision to move forward with something. But it's going to take time. So this is a good healing card as well. And what it shows is the lady's just going like this. She's getting herself organized, and everything takes its time, and everything's got to go in its place. So if you look towards this end of this year about settling things and putting a base layer down, then as you go into the new year, you can build upon it. Now, the 8 of Wands And the reason that it's disappearing and it's a bit see-through there is because of the green screen takes out the green on the bottom of that card. But what this card shows is taking off over a green field. I like my tarot quite literal. So when I look at this card, so this is, for me, is traveling over fertile ground. This is getting things going. This is the start of a big journey for you. So over these next few months, we've got a red card, a red color on the top there. The red is all about the root chakra, and the root chakra is putting the roots down. So this could be your stereotypical holiday if you're looking at traveling abroad by plane. I like it as a sign of progress. I like it that once you acknowledge that you want to make these changes, that once they start to come in and you start to notice the synchronicities that are going on around you, then great progress is possible. I look at the bottom of the card and see it all over the green. So that is settling my emotions. And as I take off, my emotions are settled and I am going to make some amazing progress over these next few months. But that's assuming that you actually want to. And the final card for you is the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune for me is about taking that chance, right? Taking that chance. I always think that when we get bogged down into like risk assessing and worrying and things like that, that we can't half waste a lot of time. I'd rather like do my research and see if something's right for me, then make a decision and then go for it, or go, that's not for me. Because if we wait too long, it's like that spinning wheel has gone round again. Now, I'm not saying that opportunities won't come back in the longer term, but the question is, what if they don't? So there's a little bit of a push for you at the moment to put aside any trivialities and things like that and focus on you over these next few months and look what it is that you want to plant the foundation for. Where is it that you want to travel? What part of the road? What part of this do you want to rebuild? So I do feel for you, Karen, that there's some big changes in the background there. But what I would be looking at doing is defending myself and just going, right, if there's anything around me where I'm having an argument or a disagreement with people, do you know what? My way of dealing with conflict these days, bearing in mind my background was that I was a prison officer for a good number of years, is to just say to people, right, what can I say to you that ends this conflict? You know, if you've got this need to be right, be right. If you've got this need to want to vent your spleen, do it, but just do it quickly, because I'm not interested in keep meeting it. But like I say, if you've done something for a long time, it does take time to change. So take the healing from the card there, the temperance card, get things in balance and moderation, and particularly perspective, and then look how things start to pan out for you over the next few months. Right. So, Rainbow, are you still on? Would you like a card? Because I'm not under any time constraints whatsoever, which is why I'm actually going reasonably slow with these, because normally what I tend to do is blah, 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 which is why I've now stuck to coming on here and doing this on YouTube. Because for me personally, while my audience is quite small, the energy is quite relaxed. And then I feel like that spirits step in closer for me. Right, Rainbow. That's a beautiful name. I don't know whether it's a nickname, whether it's your real name, but whatever it is, whether it's your handle, it is beautiful, because it sums up for me, or it summons up for me images of bright colours and somebody there that is very unique, that is very spiritual, but also in that space where what I'm feeling around you at the moment is that maybe, just maybe, you're being a little bit reluctant to be your full self at the right at this moment in time. Is there something there that's blocking you? Now, I connect in, and I want to explain how I do my work, that I hear words and I will have sensations around me. Now, I connect in. I've got a lady, and I've also got the cancer condition, but I've also got, in the spirit world, something to do. So spirit give me signs and signals with things. So if I get this on the back of my head, this tends to mean somebody that has either had a stroke or had Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that that's affected their ability to speak, communicate well, think and process their daily lives. I'm not quite sure whether I've got male or female with that, but this is what is bringing into the collective. I've just got somebody stepping forward that wants to tell you to communicate quite clearly. There's something I feel that you need to get off your chest. There's something there that I feel that you need to get started. Yes, it is male there, Rainbow, but I also feel that I've got a lady that connects in. So whether she's coming in with the gentleman or whether she's just there in the background, but it's all a bit of a mishmash at the moment. They're all coming in, I feel, at this moment in time to shine a light on you so that you can see the truth. I don't know whether we're suffering a little bit of a confidence knock at the moment or whether just things have stalled, but there's just that sense of needing to step forward with something and clear your mind. He has Parkinson's. Right, okay. I wasn't quite sure what was going on because it's symbolic with me. I don't know how I would... I don't know how I would describe that. Yeah, his sister. I wouldn't be able to sit there and say, "Oh yes, definitely." But there's definitely a lady's energy that comes in. She's like a bodyguard. She's the way that she's describing me is when I tend to get the older ladies of the generation that would come in, they would describe themselves as a bit of a battle axe. So the sense with her is that I'm not saying that she's an older lady, but the sense with her that she could be a bit fiery. A bit prone to, as I found out quite regularly with me, a bit foot in mouth disease. You say things and you don't filter it before you let it go. So they're just coming in, I feel, to give you the platform for you to stand up and do whatever it is that you need to do moving forward. Hi, Lady of the Lake. Nice to see you. Thank you. There's a blast from this. I've only been on here a little while, but yes, I remember your name. Thank you. Lovely to see you on. Thank you very much. Right. All right. 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 So I'm careful of that I don't swear on here. But as I say, I set up the fuck it bucket for people. And it does cause me trouble. It really does when I mention that. But if you think about your actions and your communications, right? When you've got a problem, look at, can you get anything beneficial from it, right? Can you get anything that you can learn from the situation? If the answer's no to either one of them, then don't keep thinking the thought. Chuck it in the effort bucket and move on, okay? So there's things there that I don't know what you might be dwelling on, that you might be stuck on, but what my guide and what my sense is it is now time to move forward. Don't worry about the filter so much, because what's the saying? Your vibe attracts your tribe. So if people are put off, because there's an element of somebody around you that I feel that is a little bit jealous of you, that, you know, can be a little bit, I keep feeling like under the radar, that can be a little bit sly. Just be mindful. Just watch out for their energies around you. Don't let them sort of dim your shine or dull your light, whatever the way that's put. Right, so I'm doing you 3 cards like I did there, and we'll see what we've got there. And I keep shuffling them because I just love doing that. Right, so interesting. Right. This is great because when you turn cards over that illustrate a point, this is where you've got the connection with what my guides are saying, and the cards are the picture, and they're basically pretty bits of cardboard, right? Okay, so I'm not one of these that's going to slag tarot readers off, because I do readings, but they're not the be all and end all. Your vibration and your connection to the spirit world is, to me, is more important. Tarot cards are tools to help you. And I see them as keys to unlock doors. And once we can get you through the doors, we can get you to look at whatever's behind them. But when they marry up with what I've just said, this is the bit that I love. So I always keep my cards face down until I've delivered my mediumship part. Right. I've got the 7 of swords, right? So swords, hurdles, problems, obstacles to overcome, matters of the mind and the intellect, and how you think. what your thoughts are held captive by, and what is going on around you in your very everyday life. Swords are represented by air. Air cuts through illusion. Blue is about communication. And we've got this card there where this person here is a bit of a chancer. You know, I call them blisters because they turn up once all of the work's done. So this is looking around you when people take credit for your work or occupy your thoughts that are a bit sly and a bit slack, that fly under the radar. And if you're thinking, right, I'll give them a bit of a chance and, you know, they might prove themselves in the long run. This is one of those where you're going, right, you know, you can't affect people's free will of choice. However, you can make the pointer to them that this person does not care about your well-being, right? They're only in whatever this situation is to be noticed, right? You look at the swords that are left on the floor, that's a slackness. That's somebody there that's quite willing to take your time, quite willing to take your energy, but hasn't got the respect for you to treat you in the correct manner. So it's one of those. It's not a nasty thing, but it's a warning to say, right, if you notice somebody around there, react and react quickly, right? Because that sort of energy we don't like having around us, because that is a card of theft. Now, if somebody's thieving your thoughts and your time, then you need to recognize it and then move on from it. If we don't heed the warning, as is a progression from 7 to 10, 10 is about the completion of a cycle. Now, people say that when they're being warned about something, oh, hindsight's always 20/20. So in a way, I love this card because it actually brings in that for the future of just going, right, if you don't listen to that guidance when it comes in, if you don't listen to what your mind is telling you, what your intuition is telling you, then there is going to be an element of disappointment around you where something is going to end. I don't work with darkness and negativity in that sense, but I do work with honesty and truth. So when we get this card, this is an element of misfortune. Now, if somebody could say to me, right, before you make that next move, I can't tell you what to do, but think very, very carefully before you take those next steps. Because that card is saying that if you're not careful, you'll end up getting hurt. And I don't mean in the physical sense, I mean emotionally. And it will occupy your time and occupy your thoughts. So what happens then is we need recovery time. So progress slows down. So at the minute, I do sense around you that you've got a lot going on in your mind and a lot occupying your thoughts. So you could do with having a good clean sweep somewhere along the line. I don't feel this is a personal relationship, though, strangely enough. I don't know whether this is work or around a social situation where you could just do with distancing yourself from somebody's energy because it's not for the best. You know, they're not working on a level playing field. So communicate your needs and wishes. Then we've got a beautiful card to end your three with. We've got the Empress. Now, the Empress is the mum, the mother. She is the one that nurtures and guides you. So it's almost like I want to say to you, the vision I've got in my mind is somebody extending a hand to you and just pulling you up, giving you a cuddle, dusting yourself down and getting back out there into something. And then I always think about the product of you, and the product of you is how you promote yourself and how you put your energy out there. That's kind of like boundaries. What do you want? How far are you willing to be pushed before you turn around and bite back? So with you, we're not talking about changes. We're just talking about moderating and being aware of what's going on around you so that you can clear out the clutter. All right. And I feel that that is in the mind. The clutter is in the mind. So good, crystal clear thinking, clear communication. Do not worry about the handbrake and take the love of the two people that came through to be with you while we're reading. Okay. Lady of the Lake, thank you very much for coming on, guys. I really appreciate that. Anybody who's watching this now will understand that my way of reading is not exactly conventional. I did do quite a lot of training, but as I say, where my heart is working with my energy. And hopefully bringing through upliftment for people, that even if they think that I've just had 2 minutes of your time and I'm not giving anything constructive, my belief is that my guides connect with your guides and then give you energy to propel yourself forward, or that little bit of energy that you might need to bring in that upliftment. And it's like that magical process that's got to happen. All the ingredients have got to be in the right space and the right time. So whether the readings sit or not, the idea for me is that you've been brought here for a reason. I'm a tool in the box, and I'm a spiritual worker. So I don't get bogged down by like ego and whether I'm any good or not. I truthfully don't. I don't worry about it. So, Lady of the Lake, hopefully you're still there, and we'll spin these cards for you. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't think that I'd be on this long, and I'm quite chuffed with that. Chuffed over here, if you're from America or Australia, chuffed means really pleased. Sorry, I forget. I'm just plain speaking. I'm from a place in the middle of England called Lincoln. We're a backwater sort of farming county. All of the money that's generated around this area is from farming and agriculture and things like that. There's not a lot of heavy industry around here. And we're known for being sort of blunt and honest. And I forget that on here, you're reaching an international type of audience. So just to explain that if there's any sort of miscommunication, pull me up on it and I'll explain what I'm talking about. Right, so we'll keep shuffling these. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I promise next time, say if you're my my subscribers, you will get better notice for the next one. I'm just conscious of the fact that it's a week since I did the last one. That was big progress for me. I had a few on, and I want to keep building on that. The ultimate aim is hopefully towards the end of next year is monetization, so that I can do more work on it on here and reach more people. And plus, I'll be perfectly honest, I do like showing off a little bit. You know, I like to show me waistcoats and my colours and my strange thoughts, because the thing is, it also helps me process what I'm going through. You know, if I believe it's a two-way street, because you're working with one another's energy. The healers out there, whether you realize it or not, just by holding time for me, you send out healing vibration. And I like that. I really do. I like a two-way street. How this is going to pan out in the future, I really don't know. But I'm enjoying the journey rather than focusing on the destination. And I've just been in a bit of a flat space. And what gives me joy is when I jump on here and do this sort of thing. So I can't lose, can I? So 3 cards for you. So we have got the, I'm just getting the number there, the 9 of Wands, right? So wands, practical things, practical side of life. It's represented by fire. Fire is fuel, and fuel handled in the right way can be good for making progress. Fire handled in a bad way can be like an inferno, that it just rages everywhere out of control. So this is a card to say to you now to conserve your energy. Have a look at where you're applying yourself in an earthbound setting. Anything there that's frustrating or angering you or upsetting you or keeping you sort of held down or held back needs to just have that distance from it. Disassociate yourself from all of that crap, all of that frustration. Keep looking on the bright side. So in my head now, I've got the where's the film? Because it's ever so funny what goes on in my head when I start working. So think of the film The Life of Brian. Always look on the bright side. The song in there at the end where he's hung on the crucifix, and always look up on the bright side. There's just a gentleman's energy coming through for you there, lady. So just put the right comment up so that you know I'm working with you. The gentleman's energy coming through for you, that he's very upbeat. He's not telling me much about what he passed from or anything like that, but he's just coming in to put an arm around you and give you a bit of a G up. He's just like lifting your spirits a little bit at the moment. This card is actually a card of perseverance. So if you imagine the journey starts at the ace and we put fuel to it and then we bring it into being, we make the choices that we make and we head towards stability, and then we start to make inroads into the pathway of choice. We get to the point where life at times can drag you down energetically. It can flatten you. So what this card is talking about is you're closer to the victory than you actually think. So don't give up. So something there that you might be thinking, do you know what, is this worth it anymore? Is it worth the bother? Is it worth the effort? I always see this card as, if you think about an amateur boxing fight, where an amateur boxing fighter has probably been under the cosh a little bit, taken quite a lot of hits. The referee will call him over and say to him, right, do you want to continue? And he's got that standing 8 count to stand there and consider whether he wants to go through. So the referee will then ask him to move forward, dust his gloves off, look him in the eyes and go, right, do you want to carry on? So 8 seconds to think about that. If he says yes, he'll allow him to go on. If he looks at him and he thinks no, he'll wave the fight off. So in this sense there, you're in that moment where you've picked yourself up a couple of times and asking yourself whether it's worth it. Right, persevere, because the answer is yes. You are still structuring and restructuring, because the red is all about the root chakra and the root chakra is all about foundations. You've got 2 cards coming in there where we've got queens, right? Queen of the practicalities, and the queen there, ass kicker, right? So the Queen of Swords is the energy that I want to work with first. The Queen of Swords comes through with a dominant attitude. She's a good organizer. She's a good authority figure. She kicks ass and takes names. People are accountable when her energy is around there. If you look at her coloring, it's blue. Blue is all about clear communication. So there's a sense around you at this moment in time that maybe we need to have some sort of meeting or pull people in together and go, what is going on? There's miscommunication around you and somebody is not stating their true feelings, which is causing upset or anguish, or, as I say, somebody just not being straight. So when she comes in, right, you'll get your opportunity to speak, but you want to be clear about it, because once she's sorted through all of that sort of energy, you're going to go flying. And I mean that in a good way. The energy can be chaotic, but once you get out of that stuck mode, speak your truth, it's kind of like drop the handbrake, ready to go. So I feel over the next few months for you that there is going to be a quickening of the pace, but we've got all of the sorting out to do in the first place. Now, spiritually, we've got the Queen of Wands. So she is a lady's energy that is coming through from the spiritual world. Think about your grandma, your nana, as it would be over here, or somebody that's the lady that's got a gentleness there. Very practical, very good at making things do. So if you imagine somebody there that can spread out the food so that everybody gets everything. She's got a lovely, genuine nature. She's like a mother figure. Doesn't have a lot, but is quite willing to share. So my sense is with those 2 cards coming in together, maybe there's just somebody out there that is maybe taking your generous nature for granted. I would be in that place where going, right, I might have a sense of humor, I might be nice on the surface, but don't mug me off. So it's all about communication around you at the minute, Lady of the Lake there, and I hope that makes a bit of sense for you. Right. Hey, right, let me just have a look at that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Right. Hey, sir, tell me about my future spouse. Not really, my friend. I'll pull you a card. It's not my way. I'm not really a predictor. I often believe in people structuring their own reality. So what intent have you put out about what your intended spouse would be like? If you imagine putting a shopping list out there, what would you put on that shopping list of characteristics that this person would have? How would you bring that about? What are you doing yourself to bring that closer to you? Randomly sort of picking out the sky of where somebody's going to come in, it's not the way I work. But what I will do is I will pull you a card, and the intent behind the card is to say, is there anything in there that is stopping you at the moment achieving what you want? Now, I've got a second deck here, and it's just a single word oracle card. So the tarot card for you is temperance. Temperance, all in good time, is the answer. Balance and moderation. So ask yourself at this moment in time, with the things that you've got on, your working load, things that you've got to take care of and deal with, do you want also to be contending with a new relationship? It's all about, it's in the balance. So for me, timing, signs and synchronicities, and you putting out what it is that you actually want to come in from that. The world will not magically drop you somebody there in your lap, because it just doesn't happen. It takes work. And even when you've got a relationship that you're in, that takes work as well. So at the minute, I want you to step forward, trust your gut intuition, deal with that maybe a little bit of a lack of confidence that's going on around you at this moment, and play more of a live part in your life than sort of sitting back and waiting for it to happen. The angel card that I picked out for you says to me that there's resistance around you to accept the truth with something. That you're chained by your own thoughts. So I don't know the answer to that, truthfully, but that is what I'm going to give you. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense for you. Right. Do you know what? That is music to my ears. It really is. That is brilliant. So I love it when they're connecting. So guys, because I've got 3 people on there and I've read for 3 people. Oh, hang on, there's somebody there. Right. One more. And then I am going to get off, because I have been on 56 minutes. And what do they always say? Leave them wanting more. So would you like a quick tarot card reading, Elaine? If you don't, I will just say thank you very much, because you've given me more experience on there. Hi, just let me look at my glasses there, because my glasses are a bit mucky. I need to clean them again. Rosella Rosegill, hello. How am I? Oh, well, if you tune in at the beginning, and for some at the beginning, you'll see what a day I've had and what the last few days I've had. It's been a bit strange. Waistcoat. That is these are. So I like to look smart, and that was as a result of somebody that said to me that if you're going to come and demonstrate with me on stage, you need to look smart. So I've never been one for formal attire. I like colour. My background was that I was a prison officer for 10 years. So I wore black and white for 10 years, and it was difficult for me because I love my colours. So when I get on here, it's an instant thing for me to show off, and the brighter I can get, the better. Have to be careful, because I'm sat in front of a green screen, so anything that's got a lot of green in it shows as sort of invisible and flashy. But the idea is to just bring in a bit of fun and upliftment, even if it's just you laughing at my dress. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those things that I like to do. It's kind of like my uniform. It's also my security blanket, that once I put this on and I step into working, I feel like I'm instantly connecting to the spirit world. So I hope that explains that a little bit. Pink's my favourite colour. Right. Strangely enough, it's one of mine as well. Green was always my favourite, is my real favourite colour. But pink, I've incorporated more and more since I've started on this spiritual path. I've not always worked spiritually, and say I had a very much analytical mindset. But since I've come into this spiritual arena, pink is most definitely one of my favorite colors, because for me it signifies the love and the energy and the support for people. So yeah, I love pink, and I think sometimes you just have to be brave to plot a different course and wear a different color. Right, so let me just check there. Right, so I will just let me. Pink is your favorite color, thank you. Yeah, right. So let me have a look there. Will I be traveling to Paris before my modeling contract? Have you been on before, Rosella, and asked about a modeling contract? because it sounds familiar for somebody. So there's a card just flown out for you. So there will be an answer there, I'm sure. I sense for some reason, for somebody who's preparing for something that big, that you're not sure. There's a sense of indecision around you. So do you ask yourself a question, right? Is there a reason why this is not coming forward at the pace that you would expect it? I don't know. It's just I'm just asking the question out there to the spirit world. Thank you for the comment about the waistcoat goes so well. Right. It's a bit of a weird one because I was explaining at the beginning of this broadcast that I was supposed to be, in my mind, doing a Christmas thing in South Africa. And I got the wrong day. And the reason I'm leaning away is because I want to show you what I was going to be wearing. So I got my Christmas hat on and I got my Christmas waistcoat on, and then quickly I had to change. Now, the one that I had on previous, I could wear whatever color I wanted because it didn't need to, I didn't need to concern myself with the green background. And then I had to hastily change when I realized that I was going to be on this forum. So black is very draining. Right. For me, black is a place where you can go for safety. It's a place where you can go and hide and protect yourself. I feel it like it's pulling a blanket over yourself while you regather resources. Black for me is very protective, but also when you say draining, it doesn't allow for sort of free flow. It doesn't allow for your true colors to come out. So even if you use a lot of black, look at as respite. Don't be like staying under there for any long term. Come out there once you've done your reframing and looking at things over again, then come out there and let your true colors shine. So 3 cards for you. So I'm asking the question directly about your modeling contract. Right. So I want to ask you a question if you're still on there. Let me just have a look. What's that? I was actually expecting a contract according to this time of the year, according to astrology as well. Right. So I asked the question, right, and I'm just the interpreter. I'm working purely on a psychic vibration rather than saying that I'm connecting in with mediumship. I want to ask what is holding you back. That is my feeling. I've got the Lover's card. So is there any relationship issues or something there that is holding you back or getting you in that state where you're a little bit worried about what will be if you go away? Is there something to come back to? But is there something there that is holding you back? Is it doubts? Is it insecurities? Is it literally some person? Because I tend to find that if something is not happening at the speed that you expected it to be, there must be a reason. There must be something there, because I believe in right and divine timing. Right, yeah. So this, before that contract comes in, it has to be settled so that you know you're going to be on that sort of level playing field, if you like, that all your loose ends are tied up. Once your mind's at peace, I always go on this card, I just even get it right in that shot. And I know roles are interchangeable these days, but what I'm always drawn to on this card is the big biceps. And the big biceps for me represent that support, that lift. So whatever's going on, you need to communicate together and make sure that you're singing off the same hymn sheet. Maybe that's why there's just that delay, and maybe that's why it's not quite happened yet. There's just that sense of a block or a delay. But the thing is, for me, I always believe in right and divine timing. So what is meant to be will not pass you by. So ladies' energy in the spiritual world there, because we've got the Queen of Wands. She comes in, and as I was saying on the earlier one when that card came out, she's the homemaker. She looks after everybody. She makes all ends meet and brings everybody in. She's also a lady there that's got the home interest at heart. So is it something that you're struggling to take yourself away from the environment you're in at the moment? Because there's still something there that in my head, I've just got the words rescheduling. So even if it does come in at this time, because you've said about the astrology, which I know nothing about, I'm just going with my sense with this, then maybe it's just been put there to give you that extra chance to think and tie those loose ends up. Is everything going to be smooth and plain sailing over these next few weeks for you? I've got to say I'm a little bit doubtful, only because of this card, right? The Tower card. Now, the Tower card is one of those cards where people get worried. I love the Tower card. It is my personal favorite because what this says is it is time to tear down any old thought patterns, anything that doesn't work anymore, anything that is showing cracks in it, right? We let it come down. We don't worry about it. We let it come down, because if that's what is meant to happen, that is what is meant to happen. So I call it my cup of tea card, because if it means that there's something there that needs restructuring, reshaping, and it's going to fall down, I'm going to let it fall down anyway. I have a cup of tea while all of the flack's flying and all of the rubble is there coming down into a heap, and then I start to rebuild it in my own image. So the sense with you is this contract for me, when I'm looking at those cards, that it won't come in till later. And I feel at the beginning of the year, because there's something around you that you need to reschedule or restructure. So that's the best way that I can answer that question, while looking and sensing the energy around the cards. Okay. It's hard to be in terms, but I'm choosing. Then once you commit to that, this is where that chaotic energy might well come in, then be prepared that you're going to have to rebuild. And that's absolutely fine. I'm not saying because anything wrong about that, because my feeling is with all of that is to say to you that right and divine timing, that will come in when it's meant to, and you putting yourself first is entirely the right thing. Because if you hold back, who you're holding back for? Free will can never be overridden by anybody else or anything else. So I think you've got your head screwed on, and I also think that you know what you've got to do. So thank you. And you can, what's that there? I feel work can help me. Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same. When I start working on here and working with spirit, it doesn't matter whether what I think about me. I'm bulletproof on here because I'm working with spirit. I'm a communicator and I connect in. They know how I work. They've never put me in a position where I look stupid or I'm going to get embarrassed. This is sat here wearing his Santa hat, but they support you. So they'll also let you make mistakes, but they will always be there in the background, because the thing is about that Tower card, that whatever happens, you're always going to be you when you come out of it. You might be a bit bumped and a bit battered after life's events. You might even be a totally different person. But essentially, what is at the core of you? And the sense with you is that you've got drive and ambition. So go out there and achieve everything that you want to achieve. Now then, here is somebody there, and you guys, I think the majority are in because of this lady. Thanks for tuning in. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you my last card reading, and then I'm going to get off because it was totally impromptu. Right, I'll not explain the story again because I don't want to bore you, but I wasn't supposed to be on here tonight. I cocked up. Oh dear, honestly. Right, so I feel a bit in awe of you because of your experience, but this is me, and I don't shy away from nothing. I might get nervous, but I don't shy away from nothing. I give my version of reading, and it's been fascinating to watch how you do it and how you work. Me, I'm not very good with rules and regulations. I probably might not make any sense, but the one thing that I'm always going to give is the message that I'm given from the spirit world. So I've got 3 cards. All right. Now, we've had communication. We've spoken to one another. We've been lucky enough to come face to face on the live format. Right. This is where I've just got to trust my gut and my intuition. We're going to bring in a lady's energy from the spiritual world, feels motherly or grandmotherly, that is coming in around you to offer sort of a consoling hug. So I don't know who it is that you're having to mentor, guide, and get through an emotional time. but she's asking you not to try and pour from an empty cup. Now, I know what it's like when you're on these sort of things, that you always want to put across the best side of yourself and don't let anybody know that you're worrying. So I'm not going to be prying into anything, because this is about just genuinely how I feel at this moment in time. So this is about you gathering your resources, but not trying to do too much as well. There's a sense there, and I know we had a brief discussion about what hubby's job was and things like that, but don't worry too much. There's a sense of something coming up for you in the not too distant future where you're going to have to put your heads together and decide on what's the best pathway for you both. Because the Two of Cups there, I say apologies about the green in the background, but that's because of the green screen. So the Two of Cups for me is where you've got two people singing from the same hymn sheet. And the good thing about it as well is when that Two of Cups comes in, is the energy is about a pathway of choice, because twos indicate there's two options. So going forward, don't worry yourself so much. I understand why, and what you've told me makes absolute sense, but there is a pathway for you to choose which is going to benefit you both. So it's kind of like leaning on one another while we find out what that true path is for you. So trusting your gut and your intuition, because we're around the sacral chakra with the orange there. Put your heads together, and this emotional turmoil, right, okay, I'll pass it on in a minute. This emotional turmoil or whatever's going on around the stomach area will ease. Now, my sense there is you're getting a little bit of a telling off there, Annabelle, that don't be too stubborn when it's time to ask for help. Lean on the people that are the strongest is the message that I'm being given. I've got the Three of Wands, and the Three of Wands is when we are making progress, because we've gone past that initial decision. And I know that you're expanding all of the time, that you've got lots of different irons in the fire. We've made the pathway choices. So we've gone through that period where when we weren't sure, there's a little bit of insecurity around that. You've now made that leap of faith. The three now is saying to you, you should see the signs of improvement over these next couple of months in particular. I look at a card, and whenever I give it, I always think about the ship in the background, which says to me that everything that you work for is coming closer. But don't sit back for too long waiting for that ship to come in. Go out there and take command. So there's almost a sense with you, even though it's not an authority figure, that I want you to take charge and get and meet that objective halfway in. So as that ship comes closer, row out, swim out, grab hold of the rope and pull it in closer, because yes, you deserve all of the success in the world. The Justice card there for me is all about taking the necessary steps to sort the mind out, get yourself in that place where you want to be. And I look at that, and it's a throwaway comment with it, but legalities, anything to do with court cases, anything to do with the judiciary will all be okay in your favor, as long as you work with all of the resources that are around you. There is a sense of an amount of money coming to you at some point in the, again, not too distant future. Invest it wisely, because I think that once you put it into what you truthfully know that you want to do, then it will what's the word, mature, and you will get more of that and more opportunities. There is a sense with you that there's going to be opportunities to travel over this next year, so be ready to go at a few moments notice, right? And I'm going to leave it there, and I hope that makes sense with you. Yeah, party, perhaps. Yeah, right. There. Thank you. Right. So, bring me those. What's that? Bring me those Ducatis. Well, if that's your thing, I'd be terrified. I was cocked up today being on top of a ladder, so I certainly wouldn't be in charge of a motorbike. Anyway, ladies, gentlemen, I've done my best, right, for this impromptu live. And I do want to say thank you very much for everybody that's joined me. I'll give you a wave of me little hat there. He says if he gets it in the right way. And then when I'm on tomorrow, hopefully I'll get the right date and do the readings in the right place. But thank you very much. And if you could like, share and subscribe if you haven't already. If you've enjoyed it, tell everybody else. If you think I'm crap, keep it bloody quiet. Thank you very much for joining me. And that's me out of here. Blessings to you all. Thank you.